Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charleston, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a first perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is Stephen A. Smith dead wrong about the Clippers? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, be on the lookout for our Dreamerspro Premium community, which we're launching tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that, and we'll definitely give you guys more information once that comes out. Just excuse me, I'm a little bit under the weather today, so I just bear with me while I get through this video here. So anyway, let me get into this topic today. Now, I think the Clippers thus far this season have not been getting a lot of recognition. For a number of reasons. Number one is how they performed in the NBA bubble last season, given the fact that they gave up that 3-1 lead. I think a lot of people picked the Clippers to win the NBA title, and given the fact that they've underperformed, in the playoffs, I think a lot of guys don't want to talk about them because maybe they don't want to be wrong. But the fact of the matter is, this is a new NBA season. It's a new NBA season, and like, you can't. I mean, if you're gonna hold what happened to them, hold against them what happened to them in the playoffs last year, then why are we even talking about it? Like, things happened. A lot of teams. I mean, only one team won the title last year, so many other teams lost. So you're not gonna talk about all the other teams because none of those teams won the title. So I mean, some people like to say that, and for me, I don't think it really makes any sense. I've also noticed that Stephen A. Smith has constantly been coming for Kawhi Leonard, right? He's constantly, been coming for the guy and always talking about him in the media. Kawhi Leonard has this to prove. Kawhi Leonard has that to prove. But Kawhi Leonard, no matter what Stephen A. Smith wants to say or feel, Kawhi Leonard is already going to be a Hall of Famer. He's already had a Hall of Fame career. He's a two-time Defensive Player of the Year, two-time Finals MVP winner. The guy, led the league in steals. One of the most efficient players ever. He's still going. He's still building this legacy, but he's had a Hall of Fame career. The players that have played longer but have not accomplished as much as the guys accomplished in a short amount of time that he's had. I think those two Defensive Player of the Year awards and those two Finals MVP make him pretty unique. Now, Stephen A. Smith has been constantly wrong about Kawhi Leonard. Constantly. Just the year prior, just 2 years ago, he was saying that, going into the playoffs, first he picked the Philadelphia 76ers to beat Kawhi Leonard, then they lost. Then he picked the Milwaukee Bucks to beat Kawhi Leonard, then they lost. Then he picked the Golden State Warriors in the finals to beat Kawhi Leonard, then he lost. Now, all of a sudden, he's picking against the guy again, and all of a sudden, he never gives the guy any credit. He never mentions him for regular season MVP, but he's always constantly giving Kevin Durant, for example, more credit than Kawhi Leonard. Now, listen, I think what Kawhi Leonard accomplished with the Toronto Raptors is more impressive than anything Kevin Durant has accomplished in his entire career. Before you guys jump into the comment section and start going crazy and say, hey, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Just hear me out for a second. First of all, when KD won those two NBA championships, right? KD went and joined two, for sure, future Hall of Famers, and potentially three. Think about that. He joined Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson. Both of those guys are going to the Hall of Fame. No matter what you say, these are two of the greatest shooters of all time. Stephen Curry, a back-to-back Finals MVP, regular season MVP. One of them, he was a unanimous MVP. So Stephen Curry was there, and then Draymond Green. Draymond Green is a multiple-time champion. I think a three-time NBA champion, Defensive Player of the Year. He may end up in the Hall of Fame. I don't know. He's like the Swiss Army knife. He's one of these unique kind of, guys that he can pretty much do anything for you on the court. Glue guy, energy guy, really smart basketball player. These are the caliber of players that Kevin Durant joined when he won his two titles. Prior to that, he had never won an NBA title. Now, some people may say, listen, Kawhi Leonard was part of the Spurs organization. Fine, no problem. I'll concede that to you. But now, hold on. What about the fact that he led that Toronto Raptors team to the finals, and Kawhi Leonard probably played with, maybe one Hall of Famer? In Kyle Lowry? Who was the other Hall of Famer that he played with? Who was the other guy that he played with? Who was the other person? He led a team that had an organization that had never even been to the NBA Finals, always come up short in the playoffs in critical moments, led that team as the man, the undisputed man. He wasn't even healthy all the way through through those playoff rounds, And many of those rounds, Stephen A. Smith kept picking against him, and he was wrong. But yet, I see him heaping all of this praise on Kevin Durant for some reason, for a reason that I don't even understand. Yet he never seems to like to point out the shortcomings of the Brooklyn Nets, but is always the first one to jump on TV and talk about Kawhi Leonard has this to prove. Kawhi Leonard ain't got a damn thing to prove. Kawhi Leonard has led a team to an NBA championship by himself, had one of the greatest playoff runs in the history of the NBA, had the third most points scored, only behind Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and that was Kawhi Leonard. Led the playoffs in points, rebounds, and steals. So this thing of, oh, Kawhi Leonard has this and this and this and this to prove, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. What Kawhi Leonard, right, yes, can still add to his legacy. Obviously, he's still building his legacy, but Kawhi Leonard has proven more in that one run than KD ever did, because Kevin Durant never did that. Number one. Number two, as I said, he never points out the shortcomings of the Nets. He's always talking about the Clippers. Then he had some stupid idea, that a silly idea of recommending that the Clippers, for them to really be able to compete with the Lakers, they should go out there and sign Bradley Beal. Okay, guys, let me ask you this question. Why? What is it that Bradley Beal is going to give the Clippers that they don't have, is my question. The Clippers are the top three-point shooting percentage team in the league. They have two of the most efficient scorers in the NBA. Both him and Paul George, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, are shooting 50, having both 50, 40, 90 seasons. These are some of the most efficient. If you think of players that have had a 50, 40, 90 season in the last 10 years, I can give you a few. Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, and Steve Nash, who did it twice. This is the type of efficiency that these guys are shooting at. So that's number one. Number two, the Clippers are one of the top scoring teams in the NBA. Number three, the Clippers are one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. Yes, you may say they may need to upgrade at their point guard. Maybe they may need to pick up another big to back up Serge, just in case Serge gets into foul trouble. I can understand that. But what's the need for Bradley Beal? What is Bradley Beal adding to this team? More offense. They already have enough offense. What are the offense do they need? Just the other night, I think they had about 6 guys that were in double figures. The Clippers' problem is not offense. What they need to continue to work on is their defense, is what they're doing. But Stephen A. Smith came in and said, oh, for the Clippers to really compete with the Lakers, they need to get Bradley Beal. Why? These are the things that Stephen A. Smith is always saying about the Clippers, and he's always wrong. Even last season, when the Clippers are going into that Game 7, do y'all know that Stephen A. Smith picked the Clippers? So how right can Stephen A. Smith be? Right? And then when he's wrong, he never admits it. He's just there talking and saying this and then saying that, but he's always wrong about this team. And this year, I have not heard him mention, not one time on TV, why that Kawhi Leonard should be one of the front runners for MVP. I haven't heard that. I haven't heard it, except all he's up there talking about Kawhi Leonard has this to prove and Kawhi Leonard has that to prove. I don't know why. Maybe Kawhi is not in a buddy group with these guys, or maybe he doesn't give Stephen A. Smith interviews, or he's not part of that bubble that Stephen A. Smith has, or whatever it is. Or maybe Kawhi Leonard doesn't have his family members calling up, getting on Stephen A. Smith to say nice things about it. I don't know what it is with Stephen A. Smith, but he's always usually dead wrong. Always usually dead wrong. Now he's talking about the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, guys, let me tell you something. The Brooklyn Nets are an amazing team offensively. No one is disputing that. The problem with the Brooklyn Nets is their defense. Again, yesterday, they gave up 150 points again. They've given up close to 150 points twice. They gave up 147 the other day. I think it was to the Cavs, and then they gave it up 120. And then they gave up, I think, 149 points to the Washington Wizards, right? To the Washington Wizards, who I think have a 4-11 record. If I look at the standings in the Eastern Conference, the Washington Wizards at the very bottom with a 4-12 record. Yet Stephen A. Smith is picking the Nets with so much certainty that, the Nets are going to go to the NBA Finals. How? They don't play defense. How? I don't so when this guy gets on TV and he's talking, I think he's just there flopping his lips, man. Just talking. Like he's just there saying things, and Max Kellerman doesn't call him on it. Somebody needs to ask this guy and say, bro, what are you talking about? And he's always wrong about the Clippers. So for me, some people say that I'm coming at Stephen A. Smith. I'm not coming at him. I'm just holding them accountable because these are one of the main voices in the league. And no one really seems to like to give this team that give the Clippers any credit, and Kawhi Leonard, and people wonder why I talk about him so much, because he's not being talked about enough, in my opinion. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think that Stephen A. Smith is dead wrong about the Clippers, or do you think that what he's saying is making sense? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day. Catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.